Theater is a form of connection and communication, all centered around the art of collaboration. From the community playhouse and educational institution to the many regional theaters, on Broadway and in the corporate entertainment world, including cruise ships and industrial events, collaboration is at the heart of every show, every production. Collaboration is the blending of art and science, of creativity and the production process. It is the dance that happens when artists, technicians, designers, producers, musicians, marketers, and a wide variety of passionate individuals bring their talents together to develop a singular experience. Projects with Jason is one such collaboration seeking to inspire, educate, connect, and entertain through a series of unique, multifaceted experiences which seek to explore the wonderful spirit that is generated when professionals of all backgrounds and experiences intersect with rising theater students and educators, bringing together working professionals and talented students in a crucible of collaboration that happens when you put people together in a room and charge them to create something. The results are very special. This series of works is designed to enrich and inspire students, educators, artists, and all others as we look to connect, be entertained, and grow as artists and human beings.
I'm Jason Daunter. Join me in the Projects with Jason team as we welcome a Tony Award winner and one of the leading ladies of Broadway. Beth Leavel is a vocal powerhouse whose comic wit is unmatched. However, she can also knock the wind out of you with a dramatic moment. This true triple threat has been delighting audiences on Broadway and regionally for years. Student performers get the chance to masterclass with this talented lady. I get to serve as the man in chair to her drowsy chaperone. Let's do this. Artists in Conversation.
And the American Theater Wing's Tony Award goes to...
Yes, Beth Leavel, the Drowsy Chaperone!
Beth Leavel wins her first Tony Award, handling the role of the title character in the musical, The Drowsy Chaperone.
My goodness gracious sakes alive. Am I late? I'm the chaperone of Janet Vandergraff, maid of honor, friend and confidant, and all that rot. Where's the bar?
A wedding, hooray!
It's prohibition, madam.
I am the Drowsy Chaperone. It's code for living on a higher plane. Existing, maybe with the assistance of a bit of alcohol. But, just living a little above the, you know what I'm saying? But not drunk. Of course not. No, she's always very pulled together.
As long as we can hear that little bluebird, there'll be a song as we stumble along, as we stumble, bumble, fumble, plumble, as we stumble.
dead. I'm just dead. It's, you know how I get. I fangirl out about very few people, and this is one of them. I'm literally sitting here crying like I won the Tony when they announce it. Like, I should be running up there. Hi, I'm Jason Daunter. This is Artists in Conversation, and one that I am so excited about. I got to see 5 times. I don't even know that I've told her that yet. 5 times The Drowsy Chaperone. I saw it 5 times. I close to my first move to New York City. I think it was early in my time in New York. No money, but found the money somehow. I still don't remember what you paid to see it and loved it. This Artists in Conversation. She's here. It's going to be amazing. If you're just joining us for the first time, take a second and subscribe. Hit the bell. Follow us. All the cool things we have going on here. You can follow us on all social media at projectswithjason.com. That's our website, but at Projects with Jason on all social media. See, I'm already all worked up. This is just too much. Comments. If you want to throw a question, a comment, show your love to the performers, throw some questions for the amazing Miss Level. You can put them right over there, and we will see them and talk about them during the show. Next weekend, we're back with Virtual Cabaret on Friday, and then Saturday, Tech Table welcomes the amazing Lisa Dawn Cave, who is currently the production supervisor for Frozen Worldwide, but has had an amazing career as a stage manager on Broadway, and she will join host Casey Wilkerson to talk all things stage management, a show that I'm very excited about. So check that out. This is a very exciting weekend. It should be Tony weekend, so we have a Tony Award winner here today. We should have that. We're also celebrating Gay Pride Month, so Beth checks that mark off too. And today is our 21st show for Projects with Jason. It's our 21st show, so you know what that means. We can legally drink, which I also think everybody cheers everyone here at Project with Jason, which also Beth can check that one off too. So she was just like a true triple threat in terms of what she covered for being here on this show. So my story starts with her that our dear friend, you say it 3 times like Beetlejuice, Jacqueline, who is the executive producer at Stages St. Louis, and Michael Hamilton, where I got my professional start. He was a producer on The Prom and got to know Beth during that. I had been a huge fan of Beth's, and so it was somebody who I definitely wanted on the show, and that was a direct link. We had moments. We'd had many moments in New York. We shared an alley when I was doing A Doll's House Part 2 at the Golden, and she was right next door doing Bandstand, and she would pass you and say hello. And you think, especially right now, with the current state of the world, you'd think it's not hard, right? Just acknowledge someone, look them in the eye and say, hello, how are you today? And you actually answer, right? But so many people don't. And I just remember you'd walk past her and I was always like, eyes down to the left, don't look her directly in the eye. And, she'd say hello to me. And it just, you knew she was this bigger than life personality and so kind. And the reputation definitely is who the person is. I've gotten to spend a little bit of time with her this week. And then I also told her she responded to me after she won the Tony for Drowsy. I saw her and just didn't know me. And I was like, hey. And I just recited a full story in text from a friend of mine to hers right before, who had like just bullet points of remembering moments he'd been around her. So I'm thrilled today. I'm playing the role of Man in Chair. We haven't told her that we announced 2 weeks ago that her and I are going to do it in North Carolina at some point. We're going to make her do the role again. And I'm going to play Man in Chair because every gay man wants to play this role. So let's just get to it. I want to talk to her when I hear some kids sing. You never know what's going to happen with her around. So please welcome the incomparable, the kind, the amazing Beth Leavel, everybody.
Woo-hoo! Oh my gosh. I'm not kidding. That intro, I had to go wipe my eyes. Because just watching my hairstyle change that drastically that many times. But oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. It meant the world to me.
It's, I think it's so important, especially like we have so many things, so many students connect with you. I know because everybody's first question usually when they do the show is they're like, am I still relevant? Do they know who I am? I'm like, yes, they know who you are. It's like, yes, they know who you are because especially a lot of them didn't get to see the prom, but especially now with the prom, that was something that spoke to so many students across the country. And I think then when you hear that you grew up in North Carolina, you've done regional, you and I have both done Pittsburgh Civic Light and the Muni.
Absolutely.
Which, the Muni's a walk in the park compared to the 7 days you get at Pittsburgh. When I got offered the Muni years later, I was like, you guys are a walk in the park at 11 days. Like, 7 is crazy. But all right, let's go back. Let's go back to the very beginning. North Carolina, you're growing up.
Babies to start. It's the only time I'll ever sing soprano or do that role. Thank you. Babies. Yes, I grew up in North Carolina. You see how this night's going to go. I try so much.
I'm with it.
I try to behave, and it's just
no, not at all. When you said how long is this going to go, I was like forever. We're gonna top Angels in America. There's my ride. We're gonna do Perestroika, Beth Level. Oh, we've lost 15 people. It's fine. It's about us. I don't really care. Tune out. So talk to me. So, okay, everybody puts this definition nowadays on the whole like authentic self and what they mean by that, showing who you are and all this kind of stuff. Like, my question is, were you the Beth Leavel we see now? Like, were you this extrovert? Were you this strong-willed woman when you were growing up, or did you find her? Where does that story start?
And I love that you think I'm an extrovert and strong-willed person. We all have many sides to ourselves. If you would ask my fiance, if he lived with Beth Leavel all the time, I think we wouldn't be together. Mm-hmm. But yes,
a lot of us are introverts, right? It's that insecurity. It comes from that, right?
It's that introverted extrovert kind of thing. But when I'm on stage, that's where I'm comfortable, and that's where I feel my authentic, that part of my authenticity comes out. But I was never shy as a child, but I remember in 5th grade, my teacher, I remember telling a whole joke and I had to stop the class because I had to describe this story. And she was like, could you come here for just a minute, please? And she took me out in the hall to tell me to please be quiet. So, it was the South too. I was raised as a very, very fine Southern girl. And I've been working against that my entire life. And I'm like, really? And this is the career I chose. It's so interesting too, because I didn't know anything about theater growing up. It wasn't, now there's so much theater available in North Carolina, in Raleigh, where I grew up, to either see or be involved with and to be an artist and to act and all this other stuff. But when I was there wasn't any opportunities, nor were my parents interested. So I didn't know anything until I remember, I think when I was about in 6th grade, my parents took me to see the movie, The Music Man.
Okay. And
I just remember wanting to figure out how to jump into the screen and be Anita, and how in the world I could be involved in that kind of magic. But so I didn't even do my first musical until I was a senior in high school. Okay. And from then on, I've been a perpetual student.
I love that line. I've heard you say that before, a perpetual student.
I totally am. Each show, each role, everything, I'm constantly learning.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I tell the kids now when I speak to them, even like college students, it's like, I guess they're Gen Z is I guess what we call them now. Like we've done Gen X, they're Gen Z. I don't know. Or Gen Z, and I'm not.
Alpha or sorry, my hair is like driving.
So they will say, I feel like they want the direct formula of how they do it. The question I get is, how do I get to be who you are? And I'm like, there's no formula, and you've got to go through that journey on your own, right? You got to figure out what jobs do you take, what jobs don't you take. You learn through each, and it's like every time I approach a new project, I don't ever stage manage it the same way twice.
No,
you don't. You just. It's the circumstances of that.
There's no one right answer. Everybody's, and please forgive me for using this word, journey, is very singular and should be. Mm-hmm. It really should be, because that way I can come, to use this word, I can learn to be my authentic self as an artist and as a performer by doing the way I'm my track, whatever that is supposed to be. Right. And that's for everybody, thank goodness. So there is no right answer. Right. Or wrong answer, I think.
No, and I think you learn from, and I don't like the term success and failure, and they've heard me talk about it on the show. I always think those are, but like the challenges, you learn more from the challenges. I remember when I had worked on, I hadn't even worked on it. It was Fat Pig was supposed to come to Broadway, and they canceled it 2 days before rehearsal. It was my first PSM gig. And I remember a big general manager, producer type came by. They nicely brought me back to Wicked for a few days because I'd left Wicked to do this. And it was like, I did what? And she said, don't worry about it, kid. She's like, everybody has their flops. And if they tell you they haven't, they're lying.
They're lying.
It's part of the fabric of who we are. You don't know. You do the work the same way each time. And it's true. You just go in and you put your nose to the grindstone. And I think as you and I talked, to me prepped, and we're going to talk about, you've replaced, you've originated. You apparently moved to New York thinking you were a dancer.
I thought I was a triple threat, which really that term wasn't. I think that's a newer term than when I moved in the 80s. But I really thought, because I had taken 3 years at Betty Kovac School of Dance, tap because I hated ballet because I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't disciplined enough. But tap I thought was kind of interesting. So I learned the vocabulary of tap. And then at a certain age, it wasn't cool to be in tap class anymore, which is one of my, I have very few regrets because I think everything happens for a reason kind of. But that I wish I'd stayed in tap longer. But when I went to college, because I had a fabulous mentor teacher that, I have a language, I have a skill, a style of dance, but I have absolutely no technique. Absolutely none. But it doesn't really matter because, when I work and when I'm working with the kids and when I coach and stuff, to me, it's just all about storytelling. And no matter what medium it is, whether it's dance or singing or my favorite mime or acting, just kidding, acting. I tried mime. But wait, whoa, sorry. What was it? Oh, so I thought I was a dancer, and because I was able to choreograph and I danced in all the shows. But when I moved to New York, I realized that I was mistaken. I was a singer who moves well, and which was just fine. And ironically, my Broadway debut was the role of Anytime Annie in 42nd Street. And I have never worked so hard to reacquaint myself with my inner tapper than I did for that audition. Do you mind if I tell that story?
No, tell it, because what I want to ask though, just to make sure that we say it was, did you commit to it, or were you see a lot of people that apologize. Oh, I'm not great at this. Like, did you just commit to it and like, I'm going to do this? Or were you apologizing during the process of learning it? Like you
no, thankfully, back in the old days, children, I don't know if you even remember, Jason, when you audition for a Broadway show, a lot of the times you auditioned actually in the theater on the stage, which was really cool. This was one of my first big auditions in New York. I had just gotten my agent, so I had an appointment. And it was at the Majestic Theater where the Phantom of the Opera is. And in that alley that Jason and I were talking about, it's so glamorous.
It's that's the one you show people, right? The marquee's got a nice.
What is that?
Yeah.
This is my front door to work. It's like, ew, but it doesn't matter. So, and I walked into the Majestic's theater. It was my turn. There was a long list of people being seen. And fortunately, I did not know who was in the audience because it was a bunch of very important people, i.e. David Merrick, who was the producer, Mark Bramble and Michael Stewart, who wrote the book and lyrics, not the lyrics, the book, and Randy Skinner, who was Gower Champion's associate, and Karen, can't remember her last name, who was Gower's associate. So fortunately, they had me sing first. And I always talk to my kids or whoever listens that, get your go-to song that kind of shows who you are in 32 bars, 16 bars, a whole number. And I finally found with some of my friends this number that I just held, this belt, and it just got me work after work after work. And so I went in very confident with my I Got Rhythm. And I sang, and they thought I was funny, and they gave me the sides to read, and I read Anytime Annie sides, and thankfully they let those two things go by first. And then it was time for me to tap dance. I had my fuchsia suit on that my mother gave me from North Carolina because she said I would pop when I was on the stage at auditions. And Karen Baker comes up from the audience, and literally now I hear it like do 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 do. And I had my Capigios on, and she shows me the Anytime Annie tap solo, which is really intricate. So I tried my best to do it. I could not. So I finally asked her. I had my Walkman.
Yes.
I had a Walkman. So I literally tape recorded her sounds as she did it. Bless her heart. She did it nice and slow. And I would say flap, shuffle, step, heel, and just to the best of my ability. But I did not do a good job. But there was something in me that she said I had 5 days to learn this combination. And if I came back a better dancer than I was right now, then the job would be mine. And I worked.
No way. Seriously?
I worked my butt off. I may have romanticized it this much, but it was that's the essence of it. And I worked my butt off. And I came back, and I booked the first national tour, did it for 8 months, and then the role became available in New York, and I stayed in that show for almost 4 years. By the end of that, I could do that combination like nobody's business.
As Anytime Annie that whole time, yeah?
As Anytime Annie the whole time. And I also stood by for a couple of the older parts until I did the revival that I was the older part. Cheers.
Well, funny because yes, cheers to you, darling. I saw you do Dorothy Brock. That was the first time I saw you live on stage. And that, I think, to me, like the kids that I talk to and I want to get to with this show, it's those kids out there that I'm like, look, you can be that person. If you want to work hard enough. I remember the years later where it was like Carolee Carmela was in a reading I was doing. David Elder and I did Mary Poppins together at PCLO. It's like you're suddenly in the room with these people you have romanticized about and seen on the TV and seen on stage, and now you're working with them. And the true pros, it's like, let's go. It's about collaboration, and you're now the stage manager. You're the boss. Tell me where I need to be, and like that. It's amazing to me. Those are the pros.
I'm in it for the work.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the work and the satisfaction. And it's, if I don't do it, I don't feel complete.
Absolutely.
I feel like, a part of me is alive. So fortunately now I'm at that some people actually pay me to do it. So win-win.
Isn't that the best? Well, we have you here today to work. So we're going to put you to work in a few minutes, coaching some students. But I just want to make sure that, as we continue to think about how we bring Broadway back and how we do it, I think Marcel Marceau, the life story, as portrayed by Beth Leavel, no spoken word in a 90-minute mime production with a score by, I wonder who the score could be by. I think we should just put that out there. There's enough produced. Jack Lane. Just go ahead, start raising the money now. There it is right there. Let's take a look, because I said, I think when I look at you, I've had you kick me in the gut with moments in the theater and then also just moments that are just riotously funny and original and never a take or shtick. It always feels honest. It comes from the character. So we have clips of you tonight to counteract some of the things that also the students are doing, the two that are bringing songs tonight. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah. Myrtle, you can do it. Myrtle, 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 Myrtle. She's like, what are you eating? All you need is a hand. Well, shut up. We can do it. Your mama is gonna see to it. Curtain up, light the lights. We got nothing to hit but the heights. You'll be swell. Wait and see. I can tell. Follow me, Myrtle, and nothing's gonna stop us till we're through. Myrtle, everything's coming up. Roses and daffodils, everything's coming up. Sunshine and Santa Claus, everything's coming up. Bright lights and lollipops, and everything's coming up. Roses for me and for you.
Good girl.
I want to be clear that no animals were harmed during the recording of that. Myrtle can still hear. She's fine. But I mean, when your co-star is a dog and you're giving everything but the kitchen sink and still selling that incredible number, that's star power, folks. That's just a smart actress. If you're at home, get your tablets ready, get your notepads ready, because we're about to do a master class. And I promise you, she's going to say things that aren't just for the students performing. She's going to say things that are for you at home about this art form. We're going to start off with a young man who in 7th grade did his first performance. He was in Curtains. He remembers it being very scary. He was an understudy and he had to go on for 2 performances. I can't even imagine 7th grade going on as an understudy in 2 shows. That's crazy. Future dream roles, hopefully In the Heights, which his school hopes to do when they return to being able to perform on stage. From Charter Oak High School, with a classic from Alan Menken and Howard Ashman's Little Shop of Horrors, Grow For Me. This is finishing sophomore, incoming junior, Wesley Bonilla. Sing for us, Wes.
I've given you sunshine, I've given you dirt. You've You've given me nothing but heartache and hurt. I'm begging you sweetly, I'm down on my knees. Oh, please grow for me. I've given you plant food and water to sip. I've given you potash, you've given me zip. Oh God, how I missed you. Oh pot, how you tease. Oh please grow for me. I've given you southern exposure to get you to thrive. I've pinched you back hard like I'm supposed to. You're barely alive. I've tried you at levels of moisture, from desert to mud. I've given you grow lights and mineral supplements. What do you want from me, blood? I've given you sunlight, I've given you rain. Looks like you're not happy unless I open a vein. I'll give you a few drops if that'll appease. Now please, oh please, grow for me.
Yes! Come on, Wesley. I think I said Wes and I wasn't supposed to. I'm sorry. I got your last name right, though. I think I was so excited about that. Amazing. That was great. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to introduce you to Beth Leavel and let her do her thing. So, Beth Leavel, come on back to us.
Hey.
Beth Leavel, Wesley, Beth.
Hey, Wesley.
Take it away.
Awesome. You're so
Thank you.
I just have to say, I've been this whole Zoom world of performing. I mean, as if singing a song isn't difficult enough.
Yeah.
Now we have to figure out how to work this medium to deliver our truth through our storytelling through song. But you're amazing. You're adorable. And I mean that
Thank
in the
you.
highest complimentary form. And I love the little, as you're singing, you're getting all these cheers from people scrolling across. It's so cool. Maybe like, yeah, go Wesley, go Wesley. Because you're first, I just want to say a couple of things that I like to lead with when it comes to singing a song.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when I look at students, and students can mean from your age until 95,
Mm-hmm.
trying to sing a song, it's to me, are you telling the story serving the author's intention? Another thing I think about is, will this song get you a job? Like if I didn't know you at all and you walked into a room and this is your job, would this song represent who you are discovering you're becoming as an artist? And I think, yeah, I would cast you in a heartbeat in this role. So brava you.
Thank you.
Couple of things. I love it that even if we were in the room, I would say the same thing to you. I love it that you actually looked at the camera. So I felt like I could feel you singing to me. Because sometimes people, this is just my opinion, but sometimes people sing over our head in an audition and I'm like, I can't feel you. So thank you for connecting with me that way. I just have a couple of questions and I really am into like theater games. So I hope that's okay with you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for trusting me. What happens right before you have to say this first lyric?
Seymour has been tending to this plant constantly for weeks on end, and it has given him nothing. And it really kind of hurts him in a way because he works at a plant shop trying to sell plants, and he can't get this darn plant to sprout. And he's reached that moment where he's just frustrated. He starts singing, and he comes to the realization what he has to do. And
That's okay. I just want to know what happens right before.
Yeah.
That you all of a sudden have to sing to the plant. And what is your first lyric? Can you give me the lyrics as a monologue for 2 seconds?
All of them?
Just start and I'll stop.
Okay. I've given you sunshine. I've given you dirt.
Don't act. It's okay. Don't act.
You've given me nothing but heartache and hurt. I'm begging you sweetly. I'm down on my knees. Oh, please grow for me.
Awesome. When I do this, it just means stop. I'm sorry. This is a new Zoom technique. Stop. That's awesome. What I would like to see happen in your performance, I would like you to hear what happens right before you have to sing the song. What I like to call it either emotional prep, something happens to activate. I want to see you activate that if you don't sing this song, if something doesn't change, if the plant doesn't grow, what happens to your job?
It's gone.
Exactly. So what I would love to see, because when you sing it again, I'd love to just, again, keep working on this. I need your stakes to be a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
Because the outcome from where the song begins to the song ends can change your life. So I missed a sense of urgency, and I'm just giving you permission the next time you do it to know that this is kind of life or death.
Uh-huh.
This plant doesn't grow. So what I would love for you to do, just say that you've watered the plant. It's like, and Mr. Mushnick, I'm going to be Mr. Mushnick next time we sing it.
Mm-hmm.
And just to kind of emotional prep you so you can go back to the plant with your stakes a little higher. It's not actually in the musical, but we're just an acting exercise to play. Mm. So what I would love to explore in this is each time you try something and it doesn't work, it's a new discovery. And then when you get to the blood, I would love to see, the blood actually does something, does it not?
Yes.
So that's such an aha moment, and that changes your stakes again, because speaking of life or death, this plant wants your blood. Or did you not see that correctly? Or you did see that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Did you not? And does he start to grow after the blood? So I am also aiming for more of a beginning, a middle, and an end for this, and not singing it kind of the same way. So we're going to with something that happens with Mushnick.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't fix this plant, your job is over. So let's bump up those stakes, and it is urgent. And every time, just dial it up a little bit, Wesley. Dial it up a little bit. It's not casual. You can just. It doesn't mean overacting. It doesn't mean being large. It just means it's really important. So your stakes have to be high. And your intentions have to be really specific and strong, because again, it's kind of life or death. Mm-hmm. And when you discover something in your lyrics, like I've watered you, I've done this, I'd love to, you even said it, you said you're very frustrated. Let me see, try to push yourself a little more this time and just see what happens. Let's just play.
All right.
Are you, you're singing to a track, right, sweetie?
Yes.
Is there any lead into the track, like dun 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 dun?
Yeah, there's like
a bell tone,
or like 2 or 3 measures before I start singing.
Oh, that's good. Do you mind if I hear it for 1 second? Let me just see how long I can act, Mr. Mushnick. Ready? Okay. When I go like this, start the music.
All right.
I'm your boss, okay?
All right.
All right. Go ahead. Wesley, what is wrong with you? If that plant doesn't grow, I'm going to lose everything I own.
I've given you sunshine. I've given you dirt. You've given me nothing but heartache and hurt. I'm begging you sweetly. I'm down on my knees. Oh, please grow for me.
Stop. That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you feel the difference already?
Yes.
Okay, now I want you to find a plant. I don't care. Is it a backpack? Is it
a plant?
Just give me something on a stool. Let's really direct the energy. I'm a Scorpio. Then my next book.
Beth Leavel is Mushnick now. I'm just saying.
See, I could be Mushnick.
Versatility is what we call that.
Where'd you go? Hey, that's pretty.
I've got a plant.
Okay, put it on the floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want it to upstage you.
I have a bench.
Now, I want you. Now you have a scene partner.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, let's try it again. I love it. If you're on your knees, you know what that means? If you say you're going to get down on your knees, you need to do anything you can to save your job, which means that plant has got to get it together.
All right.
Come on now. All right, ready? I'm listening. All right, ready. Here you go. You are my fire. Do it now.
I've given you sunshine. I've given you dirt. You've given me nothing but heartache and hurt. I'm begging you sweetly. I'm down on my knees. Oh, please grow for me.
I say, brava. God, each time I give you something, you do it fabulous. Now, do this at the very beginning. Sometimes you don't need to act so hard. Sometimes the most effective way to make me lean into your story is for you to be as still and as simple as possible, and then earn the end. So what I'm doing is try it this way, looking at the plant like, if you don't do what I'm going to do, I'm going to lose my job. Be as still as you can until you have to get down on your knees and then see what happens next and see what happens next and see what happens next.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. All right. Go ahead, babe. I think I made myself clear what I need your job.
I've given you sunshine. I've given you dirt. You've given me nothing but heartache and hurt. I'm begging you sweetly. I'm down on my knees. Oh, please grow for me.
Yes. Keep going. Sorry, I was just cheering.
Okay. Water to sip. I've given you potash. You've given me zip. Oh God, how I missed you. Oh pot, how you tease. Oh please grow for me. I've given you southern exposure to get you to thrive. I've pitched you back hard like I'm supposed to. You're barely alive. I've tried you at levels of moisture from desert to mud. I've given you grow lights and mineral supplements. What do you want from me, blood? I've given you sunlight. I've given you rain. Looks like you're not happy unless I open a vein. I'll give you a few drops if that'll appease. Now please, oh please grow for me.
Yes. Do you feel the difference, Leslie?
Yes.
When you're not singing at something, you're singing about something. You're not singing towards something. You're actually communicating a story. To me, it makes all the difference in the world. Just lifts the song up. Couple of words I just want to, you can have in your head. The reason that was, to me, more satisfying the second time is because you personalized it. I love that word, personalizing the song. How does that song filter through you as an artist? Emotionally activated. You knew why you had to sing. You weren't singing
for no reason at all. There was a real purpose. Something was going to change with your lyrics. And you were singular, which I think I strive all the time. I don't want anyone to copy anyone. I want to see Wesley do that part. I can't wait to see what you bring to that role. And that's why I'm going to cast you. That was great. Your voice is so sweet and I love it. And I can't wait to see you on the Broadway. Do you want to do this for a living?
I really do.
Oh, I'm so happy. You know, there's nothing like that curiosity and passion. You know what I mean? Good for you. Then I'll see you in New York, if not before. Congratulations. Thank you for going first and letting me just yell at you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bravo. Congratulations, friend. Great job. You went there and you launched into this. So we'll see you a little later. Thank you, sir.
I love the applause.
I love watching you do that.
Oh, when I'm in the room, I'm like,
watching you try to figure out what side you want that to go. Is it?
I don't know because it's just, you know, my hair is the plant. Just for me.
Now, who was that person for you in the early days that was that guiding acting force or that voice, or who were you watching that would have had a moment with you like that? Did you have that moment like you just had with Wesley?
I had an acting teacher, Fred Karaman, who studied under Sanford Meisner, which was great just to be in a class. I felt like a New Yorker. I felt like a professional. I felt like an actor. But I learned from watching the people I'm cast with. Those 4 years I was in 42nd Street, I would just sit back and sponge these fabulous women, their technique, their professionalism, their skills, their ease, their confidence. So I learned so much from Bobo Lewis. And I like to call them, like, I consider myself a worker bee, the worker bees that just worked and weren't big stars or anything, but they worked all the time. And I learned so much from them. And Lord knows they would tell me, they're like, Beth. And then they'd give me a suggestion to be like, oh, you're absolutely right. I don't need to do that.
Right.
And I'm still doing that. In prom, I did that. I still have people going, Beth, you don't need to. And I'm so grateful because, like I said, I am a perpetual student.
Yeah. Do you feel like is it like, I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, but you love a rehearsal process.
I love it.
I would say, yeah.
You know, I do a lot of work with Casey Nicholaw, and it's so much fun to be in the room with him because I feel so safe.
Yeah.
That I like to work as a performer where I come in, particularly in a comedic role, and throw everything I have up against the wall, and to have someone who takes care of me and tells me what works and doesn't work. It's a very wonderful creative process. It's a wonderful give and take. And to me, feels like you get the best work out of me that way. If you just let me at it and then edit.
How much when you saw that first script for the Drowsy Chaperone from Bob, and how much was on the page? I mean, obviously what we hear about her is on the page, you know, there's stuff that's about her, but how much then was you and Casey and just you know, obviously that whole team, that cast was unbeliblable.
I know.
You know, how much was just playing in the sandbox and then, you know, finding it?
Don't tell them that. Most of it was playing in the sandbox. You know, I didn't get the job when I auditioned for it.
No.
Good night. I went in, and because she wasn't on the page, the sides they gave us to read were not very satisfying.
Wow.
So I sang an audition song, and they gave me a callback, I think, just out of pity. And I went to the callback, and Casey, which doesn't always happen at all, was kind enough to call me to tell me that I didn't get the part. And I said, thank you so much. I said, I don't really feel like I'm the person to bring this person off the page, to give birth to this person. And he said, well, they agreed. Thank you. And they went to LA. And in LA, they auditioned Eartha Kitt.
No.
Joan Van Ark. The kids aren't going to know who these people are.
Google, I would say Google these names because they're names you should know.
The TV stars from like Dynasty and Knots Landing in the 80s and stuff. And that's the kind of energy they were going for, but it just didn't work out. So they came back to New York. They continued auditioning. I hear they offered it to someone. The person changed their mind. And I really think out of desperation, Casey just went, just give it to Beth. And I got a call from my agent saying that I was leaving in 2 weeks for a 3-month out-of-town tryout at the Amundsen Theater. So, you know, there's good news and bad news about being in the theater. The good news, the bad news, you never know what's going to happen the next day. The good news is you just never know what's going to happen the next day. We were broke. So all of a sudden, Drowsy came in my life and my life changed.
Mm-hmm. You dealt with it. You closed the chapter, right? There was no Drowsy in your future. You've been told no by the director, right? So it wasn't even like,
I was ready for, it's like, what's next? You know, what's next? Who knows? You know, keep studying, audition. And one of the things about you were discussing not being on the page was the first 2 weeks of rehearsal in LA, we would do theater games for 2 hours every morning. And I remember thinking, theater games. Woo!
I want to introduce you to Gay Jones on our education team, because I always make the joke that she loves a good trust fall. I mean, at 7:30 in the morning, she's like, let's play cookie press. And I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to do. Like,
so I did it in grad school and I loved it. But I remember thinking, really, theater games? So we had us all write a bio, which wasn't very helpful when you don't know your character.
Right.
So I remember trying to fake a bio just to have a place to start. If I looked at that now, I'd be like, rip. But we did. I've told this story. So if you've heard it, I'm sorry, you're hearing it again. We did a game called Hot Seat. And we did it for about a week. And there's a stool in the middle of the rehearsal studio, and all the creatives and the cast and pretty much anyone in the building was behind the table. And you come in as your character and you sit in the hot seat and they fire questions at you. They just fire questions you have to answer in character, which is a big challenge if you don't know really who your character is yet.
Totally.
Yeah. So I remember it was towards the last part of the week and we were wrapping up the theater games. And I was just going to go, well, just do this bad theater game again, because I wasn't doing it successfully. And Casey, for the first time, said, ladies and gentlemen, Dame Beatrice Stockwell. And he'd never said the word dame before. Word. And that, you know, like I was talking to Wesley, that like activated a whole thing in me. It's like, oh, I'm a dame. Yeah. Well, that informs the way I'm walking of it. And
completely.
Creative team and the cast stood up and started screaming, brava. You know, I was just like the biggest star on the planet. And I remember going, thank you, darlings. Oh, thank you. And I bowed all the way to the floor. And then that moment,
yes,
there she is. There she is. And I knew where to start. I was a dame and I was overacting. And the rest is history.
It was, and I will say, it was that bow to the floor that my phone is going to start blowing up, because we grabbed each other. I mean, talk about gay pride. It was the end of that number.
Just as I planned.
You went to that bow and you went all the way to the floor. That left foot went behind and you went all the way, like nose to the deck. And we were dead. We were dead because we knew who that person was. We'd sort of seen her before, you know, and then watching Bob's I mean, it was the most brilliant tennis match. Watching that show, because things would just volley and back and forth. And then, you know, the little sleight of hand where you pulled the screen in front of Sutton. Like, I'm going to do that. You know, I mean, it just got more delicious as it went on. So,
that's all discovered in the rehearsal room organically. And just for theater nerds like me, when I pull the screen across, I don't know if you noticed, but it's like an atlas.
Yes.
Because it was the only prop I could find in the rehearsal room at the Amundsen Theater. And it was from some farce and it was left over. And it was a world map. And the designers saw it and everyone loved it. So they kind of they Broadwayized it. So that's what came to Broadway.
You know, I think too,
don't leave your props in your rehearsal room or we will steal them.
The thing about long runs, you know, because I did Wicked and then I also took over a tour of Gentleman's Guide. And when I was out with Gentleman's Guide, I had the pleasure and honor of someone, you know, of Jennifer Smith came out to tour with us. And another one that I was just like, this is a legend who, and I remember we were reteaching her track that she had originated in the Broadway company of Gentleman's Guide. And she's literally like, you never know that a choice you're going to make in a show because you don't think the show's going to become multiple companies, millions of years later. And then you see people, it's like, well, you got to crawl with a suitcase in. She was like, it was like the end of the day, and I crawled in with a suitcase once. It was just something I was trying. And then suddenly you're mounting this stuff on future companies. It's being built to those sort of, it's still them, but it's these nuts and bolts are still from this framework that just came up in a room, right? It's so
even notated sometimes. Someone showed me, I didn't, in the orchestrations of the prom, there was some exit it did, and it said a la level. So now everyone that has to go was like, what does that mean exactly, a la level? Well, I will show you what it means, darling. But yeah,
I love that.
It's really, that's amazing, right? I mean,
I love that. I want to set up this next clip because I think it's you were talking about it with Wesley a little bit, but I'm such a fan of there's power in stillness, especially in cabaret settings. Sometimes when you're I think so many times performers, when they have to go out, I think we like the idea of being a character. But it's when you have to go out and do and you're doing concerts again, but it's like when you're out there as yourself, that can be scary to people because you're out there just as yourself and you're still tapping that source material, right? So you start seeing it, you see the nervous hands, or you see the this or that. And they do this great gala in New York. It's called Miscast, where it's people singing songs they would never be cast in. So I want to look at this clip of you doing Old Man River, where it's storytelling, it's stillness, it's everything you've said, and also the vocal powerhouse of a la level, as we will say. So this is Old Man River a la.
Everyone thought I was going to bring the a la level, didn't they?
So let's take a look.
I get weary and sick of trying. I'm tired of living, but I'm feared of dying. But old man River, he just keeps rolling.
Just come on. I mean, seriously, what? I mean, I could listen to her all day, all night. All right, let's hear another singer. We're going to do another singer. This young lady is coming to us from Westmont High School with a Stephen Sondheim classic, a classic storytelling song, Moments in the Woods from Into the Woods. She's been on stage a lot. Dream roles of hers are Natalie in Next to Normal, Dot in Sunday in the Park with George. She wants to pursue a BFA in musical theater, and she is also an incoming junior. So young. These kids are young too. They got 2 more years in high school before they even get picked up by an amazing college program. But with Moments in the Woods from Stephen Sondheim's classic Into the Woods, this is Molly Twilliger.
What was that? Was that me? Was that him? Did a prince really kiss me? And kiss me? And kiss me? And did I kiss him back? Was it wrong? Am I mad? Is that all? Does he miss me? Was he suddenly getting bored with me? Wake up! Stop dreaming, stop prancing about the woods. It's not beseeming. What is it about the woods? Back to life, back to sense, back to child, back to husband. No one lives in the woods. There are vows, there are ties, there are needs, there are standards, there are shouldn'ts and shoulds. Why not both instead? There's the answer if you're clever. Have a child for warmth and a baker for bread and a prince for whatever. Never, it's these woods. Face the facts, find the boy, join the group, stop the giant, just get out of these woods. Was that him? Yes, it was. Was that me? No, it wasn't. Just a trick of the woods. Just a moment. One peculiar passing moment. Must it all be either less or more, either plain or grand? Is it always or is it never and? That's what woods are for those moments in the woods. Oh, if life were made of moments, even now and then a bad one. But if life were only moments, then you'd never know you had one. First a witch, then a child, then a prince, then a moment. Who can live in the woods? And to get what you wish only just for a moment, these are dangerous woods. Let the moment go. Don't forget it for a moment, though. Just remembering you've had an and when you're back to or makes the or mean more than it did before. Now I understand, and it's time to leave the woods.
It is time to leave the woods indeed. I love it. You don't want to hear what I have to say. I can see it in your face. You're like, go ahead, get out of the screen, get her in here. I've waited. So I'm going to give you, this is Beth Leavel, Molly. Beth, Molly, Beth.
So you stop, and I'm like, Jason, go away. I have to say, yeah. Brava, you. Your voice is so beautiful. How can you sing that well? How can you and Wesley, how can you have all that at your age? I don't have that, and I'm older than you are. Anyway, so congratulations for having the courage to get up there and sing like this and do it so beautifully, both of you. I'm just so proud of you. It makes me thrilled that you're a part of my tribe. Yes, tribe. That song is so complicated and difficult. Good for you for jumping in that complicated swimming pool and making me feel the journey with you. Good for you. Yay, Molly. Just as I was talking with Wesley, what happens right before you have to say this first lyric?
The prince leaves her after she has an affair with him in the woods.
Hello. That's huge. So that's where you need to start the song. Have you ever had an affair with a prince before?
No.
What's your life like in the part of the woods? You have what, like a husband, and not very exciting, is it?
No.
So the conflicting feelings you must be feeling that this person kissed you and it was wrong and fabulous and dangerous and wonderful and terrifying and delightful, and please let him kiss me again. No, he can't. I have to go. What I would love for you to do, and I would suggest this for anyone working on a song, particularly like a Sondheim or a Jason Robert Brown song that have so many layers and complexities in the lyrics, is to go through and, do you know what I'm saying? What I mean when I say mark the beats?
Yeah.
It's like when something changes, when an emotion changes, and this song is all over the map with that, and which is why it's so delightful, because that's what you're feeling. So just to be sure that every time you sing a lyric, it's because your feelings have changed, not because it's a lyric.
Mm-hmm.
So give yourself permission to go, don't do that. Yes, oh, I want to go. Oh, I can't. Go with it. Go with the myriad of feelings that she is journeying with right now. That doesn't mean overact. That's a matter of fact, sometimes it may even be more powerful. We do it when you're rehearsing it, figure it out, if it's starting really simple. It's like, what's the first lyric? Is a monologue? What's the first two lines, Molly?
It goes, what was that? Was that me? Was that him? Did a prince really kiss me?
Great. Perfect. Now, watch me. Which is more effective? I love to use this term, which makes me lean in or which makes me lean back? My preference is I want to lean into you, lean into your story. So if I was going, oh, what was that? Was that him? Was it me? Is it something I did? Oh my gosh. Or if I went, what was that? Was that him? Was that me? Oh my, did he just kiss me? Play around with which feels authentic and truthful to you. But just know that this moment that just happened in the woods to you has changed you. And this whole song processes that. All the confusion and everything, I love it, danger. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I remember my first boyfriend was dangerous, and it was like, oh, stop it. Do it, what? Oh, because it was something, just something I couldn't explain. It was exciting. was dangerous. I shouldn't do it. Yes, I should. No, you no, yes, yes. All those conflicts are there available for you in the lyrics. I just want to give you permission, if you don't mind singing it for me again. I would love it. Thank you so much. Also, a word I would love to use for everyone, including myself, is specificity. If it's vague, it's not clear. So try to work on the specificity of it, so we'll know exactly your intention and what you're feeling. Even if your feeling is unclear, we'll see that specificity in it. Specificity, singularity, just let Molly be the truthful vessel to tell this story, like no one else. That's what I can't wait for. Do you have any questions or anything before I start? Another word. Sorry, go ahead. Try to talk. No, another word is discovery. In the moment, that's talking about that beat. In the beat, discovering the next thing that happens as it happens. It's not planned. And just giving yourself permission to be in that moment and discover it, feel it, change your mind about it, and then you're on to the next discovery and the next discovery until you make a decision or not. Maybe. I don't know. That's that whole song. It's great. All right. I'm ready for you to sing it if you're ready.
Okay, I am ready.
Okay. Before you start, emotionally prep yourself. Put yourself in those woods. Whoever your prince is has just given you a kiss like you have never had before as a baker's wife. And you're having to feel that and sing. Whenever you're ready. Whew, I'm all hot.
What was that? Was that me? Was that him? Did a prince really kiss me? And kiss me? And kiss me? And did I kiss him back?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Just because, for me, because I'm being very selfish, can you sing the whole thing to me in the camera? I'm your audience. I'm your scene partner. I'm also like your best friend. I just want to see how that informs you. So just tell me what happens.
Okay. What was that?
What?
Was that me? Was that him? Did a prince really kiss me? And kiss me? And kiss me? And did I kiss him back?
Molly!
Was it wrong? Am I mad? Is that all? Does he miss me? Was he suddenly getting bored with me? Wake up! Stop dreaming! Stop prancing about the woods! It's not beseeming. What is it about the woods? Back to life, back to sense, back to child, back to husband. No one lives in the woods. There are vows, there are ties, there are needs, there are standards, there are shouldn'ts and shoulds. Why not both instead? There's the answer if you're clever. Have a child for warmth and a baker for bread and a prince for whatever. Never! It's these woods. Face the facts, find the boy, join the group, stop the giant, just get out of these woods. I'm blanking on the lyrics. Wait.
That's okay.
Just a moment. One peculiar passing moment. Must it all be either less or more, either plain or grand? Is it always or is it never and? That's what woods are for those moments in the woods. Oh, if life were made of moments, even now and then a bad one. But if life were only moments, then you'd never know you had one. First a witch, then a child, then a prince, then a moment. Who can live in the woods? And to get what you wish only just for a moment, these are dangerous woods. Let the moment go. Don't forget it for a moment, though. Just remembering you've had an and when you're back to or makes the or mean more than it did before. Now I understand, and it's time to leave the woods.
Yes, Molly. Did that feel different?
Yeah,
Why?
because I felt like I was like more particular on what I was feeling.
The specificity?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I can tell when you're not acting a feeling, when you're actually feeling a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We all strive to do that as an actor, not to act it, just to be it, feel it. And, I love his lyric, or and that you reference. And when you do it towards the end of the song, it's so beautiful. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you had the and now you see the or is really beautiful. And I have to go back to that or. Anyway, that's that song. That's that song right there. Aiming towards that, the adventure, and then back to your love, your heart. Molly, that was great, sister. That was really great. Good job, you.
Thank you.
Singing time on Zoom.
Do you have a question for Beth before we get rid of you?
Sure.
I'm never getting rid of you, just so you know. You're stuck with me forever.
What is one thing that you wish before you like started your career in acting professionally?
One thing I wished I knew?
Yeah.
To thine own self be true.
Mm.
Striving to know that I can only be me. And I just have to learn to be the best me, not compare myself to anyone, not imitate anyone, just keep learning who I am as an artist and bring that into the room. Keep learning who you are. Keep learning how to be confident in you, in who you are, and know that there's a place for you in this world as an artist. And we can't wait. I also wish somebody had told me a little bit more about show business.
Right.
I didn't know a lot about that. We talked about acting techniques and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, how do I get a job? I wish I'd had a little more of that information when I moved to New York, which is completely the opposite of talking about singularity and being thine own self be true.
It's so true. I was saying like a lot, no disrespect to the big musical theater programs in the country, but we now have them. They exist. And I'm always saying like, when you have this many students, why don't you cast an understudy company? And on a Thursday, you tell them like, hey, guess what? You know what? You're actually not in tonight because it is educational and you can do this. And you say, and the understudy is going on tonight. And so that whole team from the dance captain, the stage manager to the faculty has 4 hours to put somebody in because that's real life. You know, I would get them on the Wicked tour and they were amazing in the roles, but then we'd start, you have 10 days or 2 weeks to put them into the show. But then you'd be talking to the departments and it's like, wait, we also teach them how to be professionals. They don't know how to pin curl their hair. They don't know what it's like to tour.
I didn't know hair.
You know, and so there's those kind of things that's like, it's not just about booking the job. You know, it's not about booking the job. It's that whole other business side to it that it's, you know what? You don't have to like everybody. You can all work together and respect each other, but it's called show business, not show friendship. And what does that mean? You know, to walk in and then you get this big show, but it's the same thing every night. You know, and some people are like, wait a second, you know, and then your voice is only conditioned to sing that show, right? You got to, you know, keep auditioning. And so, yeah, I think there's a whole world to that. Absolutely. But you and Wesley both, Molly, you got the passion and we saw it. And I think if you got that, that's 80% right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you, honey. We will see you afterwards on the Zoom call. Thank you for singing for us. It was beautiful.
Gorgeous. How can they sing like that? I don't understand.
You are just, I mean, I knew you're a tour de France or whatever they call it, you know, in terms of this teaching thing too. Like you can tell you love, yes.
You know what it is? Particularly now, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like oxygen for me.
Yeah.
Watching that passion and that talent and that, it really just feeds my soul.
Well, and they've got YouTube nowadays too, which I mean, I love. It was, you know, I remember like we had these, there were 3 VHS tapes that were passed around. They were called Best of Clips 1, 2, and 3. And it was people had taken, you know, various Tony performances or whatever it was, you know, and they were those. Now you can like YouTube. And I mean, it's the YouTube hole, right? You go down in the middle of the night and you're like, wait, who put this on? And there's, you know, Gwen and Cheetah, somebody has found. And you can go back and look at it. And I tell every week, I'm like, Google, if you hear a name you don't know, Google it, because these are the people whose shoulders we do stand on in this business that paved the way for other roles and other writers. And, and out of these horrible times that we're sitting in right now, like, the new thing that's trending is like, look, 2020, maybe we don't get rid of it. Maybe we look at this like this awakening that we're going to learn so much about ourselves. We're going to become better human beings, better artists. And I can't wait to see what work is going to come out of this. I think there's going to be, some amazing. Let's shift gears for a second and talk about when you go into a situation like a Mamma Mia or like a Young Frank or a Second Street that you knew, but you're replacing. You're ultimately not starting from day one, but you're going into something that's already sort of running. You may be only rehearsing with a stage manager and dance captain or an associate director, or you may not have another co-scene partner because they're running 8 shows a week at night. Is that process the same for you? How do you approach that?
It's not. It can't be the same physically because of the limited amount of time. It's already been established. It's already been blocked. I must say though, Mamma Mia. When I went into Mamma Mia, it had been running, I don't know, 9 years or something. When they cast me in the role as Donna, they gave me a month to rehearse. There was about 8 of us going in at the same time.
Wow.
They rented a studio. I think they always had it. And in the studio, they had mock set pieces, if not the prop, an actual replication of the actual prop.
Yep.
Literally, because the director was in London, she was there to cast me, but the PSM did all the work. Brava you. And when I walked in, Andy said, just do what you'd like to do. I went, you mean don't, cross down left to 8? He's like, no, just see what happens. Which it's a very fine line because I didn't want to, screw up all the other actors that had been doing it, but they actually gave us permission to kind of reinvent the wheel in a very safe, still staying very true to this Mamma Mia.
Yep.
And I had a whole 4 weeks to work. Conversely, Young Frankenstein, it was me, the stage manager, and the dance captain in a small career. And this was blocked. The set was massive. So if you weren't following the exact blocking, you could either jeopardize your safety, someone else's safety, or you could screw up the set transition. Funny thing about Young Frankenstein, I replaced Andrea Martin.
Yes.
Andrea Martin's 5'1", 5'2". I'm 5'8", shrinking daily. They built. Do you guys know what a put-in is?
Explain to them what it is. Tell the children.
Put-in is when you are replacing someone, and usually a Thursday before your opening show is a Friday. You come in and you're in full costume, makeup. The crew is there. The first time ever, you have the automation, the sets, the lights, but you're the only one in costume. Everyone is always happy to be there on their day off. Always happy. So I always, the underwritten rule is you have to bring donuts or cookies or something. Because it's like, thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming to work.
So it was the first time I'd ever been on the palette, an automated palette for my entrance, and I had this huge candelabra. And in the rehearsal room, I would go through an arch and it'd be like, I forgot what I said. It was like, welcome to the Frankenstein. So when I got to the put-in, the palette rolls on. I'm ready to go through the arch, and I'm too tall. So it was like I hit to her petite, precious body. So it was like, welcome. So I had to learn in the moment and for the rest of my run how to limbo. I'm right here to the set. And Mama made a bit of it. But that's something that I shall never forget. I was too tall. And, her wig was way up here and I had on boots and it was hilarious.
And I do when I talk to stage managers too, I talk to them because, you talk about learning who you really are and your true self. It's a roadmap, guys. There's no like, we weren't these people at 18. We're still, a perpetual student. I'm going to use that. I'm going to totally steal it because, when I started having to crank them out and on these big shows like a Wicked, that was my job. My PSM job was to put people into the show with that dance captain, that musical director, and you were just constantly rotating them out. And it was, you could fall into that. Yes, it was faster to say, go to 8, get to 6, you've got to get here. But then it was like, you know what, if I just get up and I do it with them, obviously Joe has directed it in a way that it is intentions, but they need to find it. You got to have them find it. Like, you know, and you give them, I really started to try to give like the first 3 or 4 days to be like, let's just get, it's a series of crosses and counter crosses, right? So I'll come at you and you instinctually want to get there. Now, if they're not moving that fast by day 5, it's like, okay, I got to help you out because we've got to get you in about 10 days. And of course, as stage managers, last thing we want to say is they're not ready.
Oh, no.
The pressure on all of us, right? Is that we're never going to not be ready for that show. And again, I mentioned earlier, like Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera and like the Muni Opera. People, I remember when I did Pittsburgh, I had done probably 4 years on Broadway, and Pittsburgh called. It was a season I had nothing going on. The Fat Pig season. Fat Pig got canceled. I had time. And they said, why are you going to go to Pittsburgh? You know how much work it is, right? And I was like, what do you mean? 4 shows in 8 weeks? Like, I want to do it because it's a challenge. I've never done it, and I want to see it. And of course, we opened with Mary Poppins with a set they built. And it's one of my top 3 theater moments of all time. There's no question. That collaboration with that crew and that orchestra and that cast, that every night for those 12 shows was a one-off to me. You know what I mean? I looked at every show as a one-off because you didn't know what could happen. You get to the Muni, same thing. Now you're in front of 10,000 people. And I think I bring part of that to me now, even just in the process of just doing a show each night, that it's still that one-off, right? You look at it like every night is the first time, and that's how you keep it fresh. Talk to us about your next journey is talk about, some material that's been thrown out there before, but you're going to make it your own, is to play Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada, the musical.
Won't it be interesting? I'm just trying to figure out, again, how to personalize something, but how to musicalize an iconic film character.
Yep.
And one made so unbelievably beautiful by Meryl Streep. It'll be
the character that was built on someone who's also iconic. Because if you do the work, in the source material of that, there's nuance to it. And whatever you can tell us, where are you all in the process? What has happened with the process being slowed down?
Paused. We actually did a Zoom reading. When did this pandemic start? 6 years ago? No. Yeah,
about.
At least 6 weeks ago, just so the creatives could hear the script. And then they came back and we did it one more time. And we were supposed to have a workshop this summer, which I doubt will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or it won't happen in a traditional shape. But we're scheduled now to go to Chicago next May. So we may be one of the first shows to come out the other side of this.
That would be amazing. And I think,
it's amazing. It's really good. I was a big fan of the movie, but it's really good. And boy, do I have talk about some numbers.
And some costumes, I'm going to assume. I bet there's going to be some. You've had some great costumes through the years. Let's be clear.
This is a secret. Not really. I said it before. But apparently, I heard through the grapevine that every house of fashion that is referenced, Dior, Givenchy, Prada, are all designing a dress.
Get out.
Get out. Not kidding. But, they won't build the dress. We'll bring it to an artist on Broadway because it has to survive 8 shows a week and an understudy and pit stains and blah, 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 blah. They'll make it durable and not cost $1 million a piece. But that's really exciting, is it not?
That's so exciting. And again, you've given hope in a dark time to the gays because, there are drag queens out there right now waiting to see what you're going to be in because, we want to steal those things. Let's be clear. For people out there that might say the business, you go into and you sacrifice so much. You can't have a family. You can't raise children. You've raised 2 boys doing what you've loved. What would you say to them? What was that journey? There's that word again. What was that like? Because you have adult boys that you've raised while living your life and living your passion. And
yeah, I can't imagine that they want me to be anything but me. Our norm was a little different. Our weekends were Monday.
Yeah.
Sometimes I couldn't go to the soccer game in the afternoon because I had a matinee, but I was the breadwinner, and I was lucky enough that my ex-husband stayed home sometimes, and that was our norm, and it was great. And my kids grew up coming to see me on Saturdays and playing at the Gershwin Theater on the set of Showboat, and TJ play on the set of Crazy for You. It was their playground, and that's just what my normal family was. And it was just perfect.
Yeah. I mean, you saw it in your rehearsal the other day, because I mean, the people that are working on this, we've got kids involved and they've gotten used to the Zoom. You saw it, and it's like, it's just normal life to them. They just see the adults and they have no problem, you know, talking to the adults just like anything. And I think, you know, growing up in the theater, there's nothing like it.
There really isn't. And, you know, I'm thrilled that they grew up surrounded by artists.
Yeah.
In all ways, you know, backstage, creatives, actors, technicians. I just think I'm really glad that that's their tribe as well.
All right. So your final moment before I let you go is, you know, the question that we're just going to put out there is that we're battling a lot right now. You know, we've been put through isolation. We've been put through COVID. We've been put through race being brought up again that we feel we've been fighting. I mean, there's just, every time you turn around, it's Broadway's going to try and come back. But like, what do you think? How do we come back? How do we come back bigger and stronger? What do we start with? What's the magic sauce? Is there a right or wrong answer?
No, not yet. I think we're all discovering that. But I do know, and I think we all know, that without the arts and without what we do, why would we want to come back?
Yeah.
What we do is so essential and affirming and important that we will come back and we will be stronger and better than ever. And again, we will have grown and learned something about the art itself, the actual physical part of the theaters, our part as an artist, you know, bigger and better. I can't wait. And boy, talk about appreciating it more. When you were showing the clip of when the show started of the theaters, literally, it was like, it took my breath away, how much I miss it. And how much we miss each other. So, man, are we going to celebrate when we come back?
I mean, and it's, you know, it's exactly, it's the collaborative nature of the stage door person, the crew back, you know, the ushers, the people you have, the bodega worker that you get the coffee, you know, that knows your schedule. It's all of that. It's a bigger community, and I think you're gonna get a lot of credit for this one, because perpetual student, that's beyond what we're talking about today too. That's us in life right now, that we all have to say we're signing up to be a perpetual student. We're going to continue to learn. We don't know everything. We've made some mistakes. This journey is still going. We have to be better, and we have to ask for everyone else to be better in return, right? So we can continue to learn. And
I know people are working on it. I mean, everyone wants this to come back as quickly and as safely and as fabulously as possible. And I have complete faith that it will.
Yeah, and the new stuff that's going to come out of it, no question. And
I will be wearing Dior.
There it is. Beth Leavel, thank you from everyone, the students, all of it.
Thank you.
This was amazing to me. Cheers, darling, to you and to just, you know, and you always have a home here at Projects with Jason. Come back anytime you like.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a few minutes right after the show. That's Beth Leavel, everybody. Amazing. Herself, her true, authentic self. Amazing. Thanks, y'all. Another great week here. As I say each and every week, in the end, kindness only matters. I know it sounds simple. It sounds foolish. I want to believe it. I'm gonna hold on to that perpetual student and take that into this week, and try to learn something new each day about myself, about how I can help somebody else, stand up for somebody else, be the voice of the voiceless, all of that. And if we just maybe if everybody just tried one thing one day, that's 7 things from me, and you know, for 30 people that are working here, it could do something, right? Again, follow us, see what we got going on. We still got some amazing stuff coming up. We're back next weekend with another great virtual cabaret with 2 amazing schools, 2 amazing performers. Next weekend is the amazing Lisa Dawn Cave on Tech Table. We got Lori Metcalf coming up in a couple of weeks. Just some great stuff going on. Thank you to all the teachers out there that continue to support us, the students that perform, and the Projects with Jason team. Take care of yourself and each other. We'll see you soon. Hey, it's Jason. If you like what you saw, take a second and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell and follow us on all social media. Thanks for watching.